When people talk about climate change in Mali, they mostly talk about one thing: desertification and the advancing Sahara, which leads to increased scarcity of land and water resources. The reality is much more complicated than that. So when people talk to me about climate change and its impact on their lives, they talked about three things: increased variability and unpredictability of rainfall, higher temperatures and heat, and greater wind speeds as a result of the trees that have been cut down, because cutting trees is one of the few livelihoods that's still viable for people. And they also talked about the impact and the interactions between climate change and conflict, that people were trying their best to adapt to the changes, but the combination of climate change and conflict made that much more difficult. And also that this adaptation was not working in the face of the scale of the challenges that they faced, and sometimes was leading to and driving conflict further. They spoke about natural resource conflicts over land and water, access and use between communities, but also within communities. They said that the state, rather than helping communities to adapt to climate change and deal with the impacts of conflict, was rather hindering adaptation, and as a result of perceptions around corruption, meant that even the conflict resolution mechanisms that existed were not really working anymore, because they were seen as offering justice to the highest bidder. And at the same time, climate insecurity was not affecting everybody in the same way. So women, young people, children, migrants, minority ethnic groups who are already socially marginalized and excluded, were feeling the brunt of climate insecurity. And so what this means for both the Malian state and for the international community is a real need to rethink approaches away from the militaristic security force approach that we see right now, to one that looks more at social cohesion. And by social cohesion, I mean three things. I mean looking at relations between people and the government, so the state helps rather than hinders people. It means looking at relations between and within communities. So for example, making natural resource management more equitable and inclusive. And it also means looking at relations between generations and genders and addressing inequalities, so that the already socially excluded, marginalized do not suffer the most.